Peter Kinsey, Canadian In-Floor Heating. We're here today with Rob Zwicker from Viessmann Manufacturing. We're going to be installing some solar panels, a Viessmann wall-hung boiler, and tying it in with radiant floor and spacing for the air with an air handler. So maybe Rob, you can tell us a little bit about the solar panels that we're going to install here.
Okay, the solar panels we're going to use is the Viessmann 200F flat plate collector. What we've been looking at here is the slope of this roof and the fact that the metal roof. Not too sure about anchoring down the panels, so we might be considering putting it on the ground over here. So
yeah, that definitely would be a challenge.
Yeah. The problem with the roof is that the separation of the roof is a little bit too high, and then you've got to lag it down into the original roof, and we don't know how far we've got to go down to get proper support.
Right.
So if you get a high wind, and if it's just into that metal roof, number one, it might void the warranty on the metal roof. Number two, the wind might just take the panel and away she goes. So
right.
With it over on the ground, we can anchor the flat roof type roof mount system right to the ground.
So Rob, you've talked about mounting the panel outside here on the ground.
Right.
Is there any disadvantages to doing that?
No, there's no disadvantage to it. In fact, it makes sometimes for an easier install running your lines, and you can anchor the panels much better on the ground.
Now, when I anchor them to the ground, is there a sonotube, or is there something special consideration?
You can use sonotube to anchor them in. That's probably the best bet. So a solid anchor, and you can pour a slab, and you can use steel girders. There's a number of different ways to do it, but you just want to have the panel anchored because you've got a panel that's on a 45-degree angle. The wind scoops around there, it can pick it up, and if you get a high wind, it can take it. So you want it anchored pretty good.
And imagine we could be good in for some good winds in this area.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Open area.
Now, you pointed out this trench, and
right.
You said there's the ideal chase for us to run our line sets. I'm used to running them from the roof and trying to figure a way through the structure or
right.
outside and try to cover them.
Yeah.
But you pointed out this trench, and I guess it's ideal. Now, the product that we're going to run through there,
yep.
Will it be the same thing, and what is that?
It's all in one product. It comes in an 80-foot coil, and you've got 3/4 or half-inch piping depending on what you select, with an Armaflex insulated jacket around it.
Armaflex being the insulation.
Insulation. Armaflex is the insulation, and you've got a sensor wire that's taped right inside the Armaflex.
Right.
So you've got your sensor wire, your tubing, supply and return, all insulated, ready to go, and ready to go underground.
So I can lay that in this trench.
Yep.
Penetrate the structure.
Right.
And then into my mechanical room, and then we can backfill.
Exactly.
Okay, and then I make the connections on the solar panel here.
Exactly.
Okay. I saw one project, a commercial project, and they had put solar panels on the side of the wall on a 45, but they were awnings over
right.
over the windows.
Right.
Now, is that common, or?
We're seeing more and more creativeness going on with the selection where you're putting the solar panels. As long as you're getting full view of the sun, it works. But with the resurgence of solar coming back, there's all kinds of creative things happening with solar panels.
I guess mounting the panels out here, I could put some landscaping around it. I could probably put the propane tanks behind it and then some landscaping and hide the propane tanks.
Sure you could. Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So we're in the mechanical room now, Rob.
Yeah.
And we're going to install a Viessmann Vitodens
100.
100.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a propane unit.
Propane version, yes. Yeah.
So we can mount this on the wall.
Yes.
Now, challenge I see here is venting. What options do we have for venting the Vitodens?
Well, the Vitodens, we have a couple of different options. In this particular case, I would probably recommend the CPVC venting, where you have an intake pipe coming in, 3-inch,
right.
and then you have an exhaust actually going out as well.
So
you've got
two
pipe
individual
system.
pipes.
Yeah, sealed combustion boiler. You can attain the same thing with a coax vent too, which the vent is inside, one is within the other. But due to the height up here in the ceiling, I think we might be better going with the 2-pipe system.
Yeah, that's pretty tight to get a concentric in, and I
yeah.
don't think our clearance above grade outside is enough. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 2 3-inch pipes, one being CPVC.
Mm-hmm.
The unit's going to be propane. Is there anything that I need to be aware of there?
No, pretty similar to natural gas.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. My power supply is?
Power supply is just 110 power supply.
110
yeah.
power supply.
Yeah.
What about a drain?
A drain, yeah, you should have a drain for the unit as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
we have a sump pit here, so I can drain.
You can drain into the sump.
I can drain into the sump pit.
Yeah.
Now I'm also going to have that dual coil.
The Viessmann 100.
Viessmann 100 actually has 2 heat exchangers.
Right, dual coil tank. You have
okay.
2 coils inside the tank. One's that the boiler heats up, the other's for the solar.
Okay.
So when the solar can't maintain the water temperature, the boiler kicks in and brings up your domestic temperature.
So we're going to have that line set that we ran from our panels.
Yeah.
It'll come into this mechanical room. Now there's a pump station,
Right.
And the built-in control,
Right.
that goes between the solar panel and our tank.
Yes.
Can I mount that on the tank, or should it be mounted on the wall, or is there any limits?
I would mount it on the wall.
Mount it on the wall.
Keep the tank separate from it on its own.
Okay.
And mount the very close to the tank, or it's fine.
I like that package, the dual coil tank,
Right.
with that pump module, because it makes things a lot simpler.
Yes.
Right. There's not
Yes.
too many components, and it's
No,
pretty
everything
pretty
fits.
straightforward.
Everything works.
Okay.
It was well designed. Yeah.
So now I've tied into the bottom heat exchanger. Now I'm going to tie into the top heat exchanger off the boiler. We're going to mount on the wall here. Any special considerations to be aware of there?
No, just running the proper size pipe. But it's all laid out in the instructions. We'll see as we go along. Yeah.
All right. So we've selected the Viessmann product for this site,
Yep.
with the solar, the indirect water heater, and the boiler.
Good package.
There are other systems on the marketplace. Maybe you could explain why Viessmann.
Well, Viessmann was one of the first to come out with a wall-hung boiler. We've had it out for a number of years, and we've made a lot of modifications to it, and we've got a really good product. Titanium stainless steel heat exchanger, fully condensing, fully modulating. It's a condensing boiler that does what it says it's going to do, and the heat exchanger has got a lifetime warranty to the residential customer. The quietness of the boiler just it's really outstanding.
I can attest to that.
Yeah.
I was at a site this morning, and I didn't even know the boiler was on.
Yeah, you have to go right up to the boiler and put your ear to it to know that it's on. So it's quiet, it's economical, and it's long lasting.
Right. So lifetime warranty on the heat exchanger?
Lifetime warranty on the heat
On the
exchanger.
boiler?
Yes.
On the indirect tank with the 2 heat exchangers, the warranty is?
The indirect tank is 8 years on the indirect tank, and you've got 2 years on all other parts and components on the boiler and tank.
So we're outside here, Rob, and this is where we identified our penetration. And we're going to be coming out almost at grade.
Right.
So I have to be at least 12 inches above the snow level.
Exactly.
So if I come up 16 inches up the wall, maybe 24 inches up the wall here, can I come up with that venting?
Yes, you can. Snorkel it up.
Is there any special consideration? Do I
No,
have
you
to
just-
insulate it?
Oh, the biggest thing is the snow level. You want the snow level here, and of course you've got to have your clearances from the window.
Well, the nice thing about this boiler, with its venting, I don't need a chimney.
Right.
I don't have to penetrate the roof.
Right.
I can just come out the wall.
Right.
The only problem I have here is when I come out through the wall, I'm going to be really low.
Right.
So can I snorkel up the wall? Can I
Yeah.
come up 24 inches? Because I have to come above the snow line.
Right.
Right. Now, the other distance I have to have for clearances are windows.
Windows,
and
doors.
A window, open window, because this unit's 100,000 BTUs more.
Plus,
or
right.
plus.
Yeah.
3 feet from an open window.
Correct.
So we'll have that clearance from both of these windows.
Right.
We'll stay
Right.
above the snow line.
Yeah.
And it'll be 2 pipes.
Yep.
So one will be the fresh air for the boiler, or
Right.
the combustion air for the boiler.
Exactly.
And the other one is the exhaust.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll be a nice clean install.
Yeah.
It'll come up the wall. The shrubbery here is going to hide the venting.
Right.
And it looks pretty straightforward.
Nice thing about it, Peter, too, is the safety factor of the venting. The temperatures are not hot, so if you have children playing in the area, there's no concern. But you're coming out with an exhaust of about 100 degrees Fahrenheit,
Right.
so you can hold your hand under it. It's not even as hot as a kettle. So
Any consideration with the vegetation here?
vegetation, as long as you keep it back, trim it back a little bit. Some vegetation is more sensitive than others, but most times it's okay. It's fine.
Okay. Is there any condensate that falls out?
You're going to get a little bit of condensate. In some places, I've even seen a little bit of ice buildup at the bottom, but nothing major.
And that's standard. That's
Standard. That's to be expected.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess it's pretty straightforward. I'm out the wall. I snorkel up
Right.
and
Combustion air in, exhaust out.
keep my clearances from the windows
You're good to go.
above the snow line. And I guess I have to stay away a certain distance from any mechanical intakes for fresh air for the house.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's pretty straightforward.
Good.
Great.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks, Rob.